Now, before Walley Wing, before it was actually named that, it goes back, I was 10 years old. So when we get here, growing up, I still love Halloween like I did when I was a 10-year-old. Emery and I just decided, I'm like, you know what? So I started it in my backyard. It was 12 years ago, probably, is when I guess you'd say I started it. First year I just did like a little section in my backyard where you walk in and come out the same way. I hated that. And then I moved it up and then I got my whole yard, so then it was like this for many, many years. And then Melina Golden, who owns the Den, who I think the world of, she offered me to do a Halloween up there, which I've never really done inside. I was extremely excited about it. So I've been doing it over there now for the past 2 years. It's all 100% charitable, though.
Welcome to Bottled Up. I'm your host, Andrew Allen. Today, we dive into the vibrant world of Kiowa Walley, a man with a flair for both beauty and the outdoors. From transforming hair to sculpting landscapes to his incredible Halloween event, Wallyween, Kiowa wears many hats with unmatched creativity and dedication. Join us as we explore the intersection of cosmetology and landscaping, uncovering the inspirations behind his iconic business and charitable Halloween extravaganza. So grab yourself a Voodoo Mountain Dew and let's hear about the one and only Kiowa Walley. Kiowa, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your morning today. I know that you're busy doing a whole bunch of stuff, but I wanted to kind of get you on to kind of introduce you to people who don't know you on another level. A lot of people know who you are. You've been in the community a long time, but I think it'd be interesting for people to learn a little bit more about you and your upbringing and how you got into the coloring business and how you got into landscaping and go a little bit deeper into Wallyween because that's coming up. So, Kiowa,
Yeah.
give me a little bit of insight. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Waynesboro, Mississippi, and then I moved to Michigan in high school, right before high school, to Gaylord, Michigan, and then I moved back to Laurel, lived there, and then I moved down here. It's 25 years ago, 25, 26 years ago.
Okay, so when did you start getting interested in doing coloring, and what was your first job as far as cosmetology is concerned?
Okay, when I first started doing hair, I was 19 or 8. Wait, I just turned 19, I think, when I started doing hair. So I was in at college, and I didn't do too good one semester. Took the next semester off and got bored. And a friend of mine taught me into going. He told me I should go to beauty school, and I was like, no, it's not my thing. And ended up talking with my aunt about it, and it's only like a year of my life, so I went to beauty school. And then at the same time, for that, I got a job at the studio of hair design in Laurel. This is where I started my career. And then I moved back. Then I moved down here, started working for Chuck Kelly, and I worked there up until I started working with my wife.
So, Kiowa, for the people who know who you are is in the world of cosmetology,
Yeah.
you're renowned as one of the best colorists on the coast. And I've talked to people, and I haven't tried to get that answer out of them, but I've talked to people about you, and you have customers that will never leave you and only trust you to do their hair.
Yeah.
So how do you think you got to where you are as far as coloring hair?
That's kind of I don't know. That's kind of I don't know what the thing about it. When I first started doing hair, I was in the assistant program at the studio where I worked for Ken Morgan, who's a really big hairdresser in Laurel. So I worked for him, and he kind of I started doing his colors basically because he didn't really love color. He's more of a cutter and stylist, and I just kind of went from there. And then I fell in love with doing it. I didn't want to cut hair. I don't cut hair or anything because of that. So then I just threw myself 100% into coloring, going to educated, went to New York, Atlanta, went to everywhere I could to go get education. I mean, for pretty much my young career, I went and got educated every year. Big education at least once a year, So I don't know. I just enjoy doing it.
You're a student of creativity in every form, in my opinion. I think that creativity kind of fuels and runs your life, whether you like it or not.
Oh, it does, for sure. I know that.
So I think that the fact that you and your wife, Anne-Marie, who's also been on the show and is a really close friends with my sister, and our families are close. I think the fact that you kind of found your destiny, found yourself where you're at now is very interesting, because coming from not wanting to do it at all and then realizing you kind of have a talent for it and then actually being interested in loving it is something that people don't normally get to do in their lifetime. They don't normally find that thing that they're both talented and enjoy.
Yep, you're right. I also believe that has everything to do with, like it allowed me to be. It allowed me to really. I mean, I am naturally a creative, but it allowed me to be creative, and I guess there's really you're like what you just said was right. Like everything I do is creative. I can't think of
Yes,
anything I don't do that I don't do that's not creative. So I don't know.
exactly.
It's just natural. I don't know. Maybe it's just natural. I don't know.
Well, it's almost as if you like God like basically realize like this is going to allow you to not number one, it's going to allow you to make money, but number two, you're actually going to enjoy it and you have a talent for it.
Yep.
So when you were growing up as a kid, did you like art or like what was it? How was your creative outlet itched when you were a child?
Oh man. Well, when I was really little, it'd have been, I mean, anything from just, I mean, I don't know, I guess just playing when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like everything, like I didn't just play, like I had to have everything, like, like I wanted, like everything in order. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. That's one good, I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest with you. It's kind of tough. Let me see. I don't know the things I did when I was a kid. I mean, it was always playing, and I did, and we were always being creative. I mean, even back then, like everything from building little forts to. I mean, I even started doing Halloween whenever I was like 11, 12 years old in my neighborhood. Like
Oh,
having
really? So
trails and
you were
stuff.
you
Oh
were
yeah,
you were doing it all the way back then?
oh yeah, man. I was like 10 or 11, I think, when I had my first Halloween, and it was in some just little it's like some little trees over by my house, but it was really cool though. So that's when I started doing that. It was like 11. I think it was 10 or 11.
So you
And I
start basically Wally Ween has been going on
yeah,
for decades.
yeah, it's been going, yeah, like 40 years probably.
Well,
Almost 38, 39, somewhere there. But
what
yeah,
what draws you into Halloween so much?
I don't know. It's just I don't know. I've just always liked it. It's most people love Christmas. Most people love, which I like all the holidays, but I mean, to me it's just I don't know. I think it's the creative aspect of it. It's more fun, you know.
Well, we're going to get into Wally Ween a little bit later and kind of talk about, the charitable aspects of it
Oh
and
yeah.
also how much time and effort you put into it. But I think that because I saw the beginning, middle, and end of last year's Wally Ween that you did, and
Yeah.
the level of detail and effort for the listener, the level of detail and effort that Kyle puts into this is no joke. I mean, it's not.
Oh yeah.
He's not cutting corners. He's not doing it just to get people in there. He wants it to be just right for himself. And he sets himself to a standard that if it isn't there, he's not going to let other people in. So I commend him on it because he does spend a lot of time. I mean, he basically starts it in July. So it's a year round thing. So you started training and educating yourself on doing hair. How long did you work for Chuck at Chuck Kelly's?
I think I was there for hold on one second. Let's see. I was there for like I think it's 17 years, 18 maybe, somewhere between 16 and 18. I'm not really sure because when I left because Anne Marie had the salon and her mother just passed, so she took over the salon and it was just her there by herself. So I left for that reason. It's the only reason I ever left Chuck's. So I mean, it's one of the best. It's the best. I love working there. I mean, and I miss working there sometimes, but at the same time, I love working at Antonian. So, Chuck is absolutely, definitely big positive for my life as he made sure, I mean, he would send me all over. I mean, I'd go to New York, I'd go to Atlanta, I'd go to Dallas. I mean, he would just send me just to like color stuff. So he really helped me a whole lot, to keep growing, in other words.
Still stay in touch with Chuck?
Oh, yes, very much so. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
He's a good dude, man.
Great man, great hairdresser, and a good friend and a good man. Period. He
Yeah.
is all the way around. Yep.
So the other pillar of kind
Yeah.
of your life is you've always been interested in plants. You've always been interested in nature. So you created Kiowa Walley Landscapes, which you do
Yep.
hardscapes, you do landscape planning, you buy all the plants, you'll put everything in. You did my house. I mean, you've done the plant up here.
Yep.
How did you decide that you wanted to try to start doing that?
Okay, so this is after Amory and I got, after we had our son Graham, and that I was working in the salon pretty much full time, and I don't know. Best way to say it is I really was kind of sick of being inside all the time, and
Yeah.
and I actually got I got a horticulture degree at Jones Junior College years ago, and I just never was able to use it. So I've just always, kept in with it and kept up with it. And basically, Amory and I got to talking, and we just started, me and her both decided it would be a good idea. So I went with it.
Well, I think it allows you to work at your own pace. It kind of also allows you to do, like you said, you get some days inside doing the coloring, and then there's days where you can be outside in the dirt.
Yeah,
And
like you, that's basically it. I mean, I like that. And it actually is probably a huge balancing factor in my life because I mean, I love to go do hair color, but I don't want to be in the salon 5, 7, whatever days a week. So I just kind of go in. I do by appointment only, usually my clients. So everybody's on my books already. So I just go in and knock it all out usually in like a couple of days a week, and then the rest of it's for landscaping. But of course, it's so hot right now. There's not really much landscaping. So which
yeah,
this time of the year that means I'm just full fledged into Halloween whenever I'm not working.
exactly. How many clients do you still hold on to as far as coloring is concerned?
I'd say about at least like 20 on my book. I mean, and that's turning over every other,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
4, 6 weeks or whatever. But yeah. And then I've got a lot of people who come in from out of town for Christmas, and then or holidays or whatever, and they'll call me. So I still have a lot of people I've been doing since they were young, like really young. It's
Well, I
like
remember when you worked at Chuck's, you did my mom's.
yep, and your sisters, and yeah, yep, yep. I
Yeah.
did. I did Grace's hair when she was really young. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit about some of the things that go into running a landscaping business. I mean, you kind of have to know what to plant, when to plant, you have to kind of work around the weather. I
Yeah,
know it's really, really hot right now, so you don't really want to be planting anything because
yeah.
it
It's
burns
really
up.
everything
So
burns up this time of the year, just about. I mean, I can't think. Well, you can plant gardens and stuff this time of the year, but even in that case, usually you're going to shade them and all. It's just so hot right now. So that's pretty much. But as far as like what do I do? What goes into it? It would be well, it depends on the job. Like if it's hardscape, there's a lot. You got to do a lot of math, a lot of leveling, and stuff like that. But
yeah,
planting and stuff like that, it's just I don't know, man. It's just kind of natural. I don't know. I just kind of I mean I don't know. That thing kind of goes back to my childhood, probably. The whole gardening thing,
have you
probably.
always been were you and your dad into it when you were a
Oh
kid?
yeah, what Dad always would have one. Just I don't know. I don't think that we had to have one, but he would just like we always had gardens and stuff. Yeah. So
What
and
all did you plant when you were a kid?
oh shit, man. Let's see what all. I mean, your basics, everything like tomatoes, peppers. All the basic stuff. He did like peas. But, it's like just basically a southern garden. Or I can't think of anything that was stood out more. Watermelons, any of that.
Right.
Now, I think that probably also been, it's even, I was an outside child. I stayed outside when I was little too. So I prefer to be outside. I prefer to be outside.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the generational thing, Kyle. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
that's as time has gone on, the kids have spent less time outside. I mean, you know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What does it take to run a landscaping company? What are the ins and outs and what you have to be thinking about when you're going to go do a job?
I guess it's constant thinking. I mean, it's everything about it is thinking. Like, of course, when you're planning it, you're thinking. And then you've got the plans. Then the plans are going to change because something's, it's on the ground. So nothing's ever going to be perfect. So it's just, you just got to be, you got to think about all of it. Like if I'm doing a patio or whatever, then I've got to get my grades right. I've got to make sure, everything's level and, doing all that kind of stuff. But then when I get into planting and stuff, then you got, it's like certain rhythms and stuff. You got to plant plants. You know what I mean? A certain things, certain rules of plants. It's just a lot of, just always, it's everything from checking how deep the holes are you're digging when you're digging out for pots to, I mean, it's just, you're always thinking about stuff constantly. I
Right.
mean, I can't think of any time when I go to a job and I'm not, most of the time, I'm always thinking about, like looking at stuff and thinking the whole time. So,
How many years have you been doing the landscaping business?
let's see, I started doing that with grandma, probably about 8 or 9 years, probably.
Okay.
No, maybe closer to 10 now because, yeah, my son's almost 14.
Yeah, I can't believe that, man.
It's crazy. It happens really fast, buddy.
I
Yep.
can't
You'll
believe that
see.
Hazel is as old as she is either.
Or your daughters either. I saw
I
them
know,
yesterday.
I know.
Stuff like
I'm
that.
about to have a 9 year
Yep.
old and a 7 year old. So yeah, you're right. It happens right in front of you and you don't realize it. But
You're right.
so let's get into a little bit of the meat of Wallyween and kind of talk about what people could expect when they go to Wallyween. So where was the first Wallyween? like the first one that you did. And also I want to kind of get into the origins of why you decided to start doing it. Cause I know a lot of it has to do with charity. So
Yeah.
walk me through the first Wally Ween and then walk me through what the charitable donations are and how it helps out with the community.
Well, okay, but well, now, like I said, now before Wally Wing, before it was actually named that, now it goes back to my like 10 years. I was 10 years old. So, all right, so we go back that far. Then when we get here, naturally, I'm a grown up. I still love Halloween like I did when I was a 10-year-old. My family, and I just decided, I'm like, you know what? Our neighborhood's really big, Andrew, for Halloween.
It
Really big
is.
anyway. So that being said, there were so many people coming through. I was like, it's perfect. So I started it in my backyard. It was probably Graham was 2, probably. So, you know,
12 years ago.
12 years ago probably is when I guess you'd say I started it. And I just started. And first year I just did like a little section in my backyard where you walk in and come out the same way. I hated that. And then I moved it up, and then I got my whole yard. So then that it was like this for many, many years. And then and Alina Golden, who owns the Den, who I think the world of,
It was the enrichment center. It's
the
basically like
enrichment center. Thank you,
it
buddy.
used
Yeah.
to be. It used to be the old Westminster Academy right
Yep.
there next to Trinity Methodist.
Yep. And then so she had she's doing all that, and she had the whole upstairs, which I think used to be her classrooms.
Fifth grade classes.
And so she had those areas up there, and offered me to do my Halloween up there, which I've never really done inside. I was extremely excited about it. So I've been doing it over there now for the past 2 years.
I remember when you told me that you were going up there, and I met you over there when
Yeah.
it was still a classroom, so you were stripping everything off the walls.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yep.
it was, and just being able to walk into a bare area like that, it's kind of
Yep.
tight in there, and you basically were like, all right, this is how it's going to go, and you kind of walked me through it all, and I was able to come in like every 2 or 3 weeks,
Yep.
just kind of look at it and see
Wait till you
how
see
it's
it this year,
going.
buddy. Wait till you see it this year.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
need to come over and see it.
So
Because
yeah.
I know that you're not taking you're just tweaking and polishing that thing up over there. So
Yep.
whenever you were 11 years old and you started doing this, did you have kind of a theme to it?
Anything from like Jason Voorhees, obviously, Friday the
Yeah, 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 yeah.
those guys were really big when I was at. I mean, that's whenever they were off. They were really coming out, a lot of them. Some of them have been out before that, but
Freddy Krueger.
yeah, just and basically I had, and it was in these it's like little woods over by in my. It's not. It was like small trees and stuff, but I mean, it was kind of just
Did you have your buddies and stuff?
a couple of them did. Yeah, a couple of them helped me. I mean, I made caves. I made all kind of crazy stuff from back then. It was nuts. That's back when I was like 10, 11 years old.
Because I know that one of the things that you do now is you have volunteers, and anybody who wants to volunteer to help,
Yep.
by all means, reach out to Kiowa. But
Yes.
you have volunteers and actors, and kind of basically that's what it takes to kind of make because if you just have the environment, that's not really the same as having people interact in it.
Yeah, you got to have the jump scares. You got to have people. Yeah, it's just better when you got live people. You're right. You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, walking through somewhere spooky is not the same as like, is that alive over there? Is that thing
Yeah,
gonna come?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Or something rubbing on my leg right now. Any of that. Like anything like that. Yeah, I
yeah,
love
absolutely. So last year you had the way that you would walk through is it would be you kind of walk someone through what it would be like if you walked into Wally Ween and what to expect.
it. All right. Well, when you first walk in, you're going to walk into, I guess that's the funeral parlor, which is, obviously it explains itself. It's a funeral situation with the caskets and all that. And then you're going to go through the body bag room. All right. And then, let's see. And then right after that, you'll go into the morgue room. Then you'll go into the swamp room. And these are all pretty crazy things too, by the way. And then
Yeah, each
then
one of them is like its own biome in itself. Like they're
yeah,
completely.
it's not really a story. It's not really a story. Everything's got its own story in each individual. Like
Yeah,
I don't really,
and I mean,
I don't do that.
when I talk about a biome, I'm talking about like each one has separate lighting. There's fog in the swamp room. The ground is different when you walk on it.
Yep.
The sound is different, and it's with the fact that these are all interconnected and so different is the part that's really impressive.
Yep. And then you're going to go through the doll hall, the hall of dolls, and the hall of skin, which is pretty cool. It's just like skin all over the walls, and then dolls in one part of it, just dolls ceiling all the way around. And then you're going to go into the butcher shop, which is probably my favorite. There you got the electric chair and all that stuff in there. The chainsaw guy. You've got the butcher, obviously, and then you go into the circus this year. So,
Oh, I didn't realize you did a circus. So you took all those clowns and put them in the circus?
yep. So I've got basically over half of it. I mean, the back half of it is all circus this year. Because the reason why I did this is because every year, when I do have it, when volunteers show up, pretty much everybody's dressed up like a clown. So it's like, you can't really put a clown in a butcher shop or not as cool anyway. So I said, you know what? I'll give them a circus. So that's what I'm doing this year.
Well, explain the charitable aspects of what Walley Ween does for the community.
Okay. Well, it's for my mother-in-law's Anna Maria G. Suckman Foundation, which is, for my mother-in-law. It's cancer. It's all cancer related,
Yes.
and then Lena, and then like when I'm doing with Alina, then it's we're split in, and I think we're split, but either way, it's going for the den too, because I really like the idea of the den. I think that's really cool for the kids. They got everything over there from chess to they got theatrics just started. They've got voice lessons. I mean, it's really, really cool place, I think. I mean, for kids and stuff, I love it over there. And then I think some of the money goes to that too, but everything, it's all 100% charitable though.
Yeah, it is. And I think that I agree with you. I do think that it's something that is needed in our neighborhood,
Yep.
in our community.
Yep. I hope this may or may not be my last year. I may get next year. I don't know. We're still kind of we don't know if Lena's actually going to turn into the dance studio next year or if I'm going to keep it again. But hopefully, if we get to keep it, if not, I don't know what I'll do. My wife won't let me do it in my backyard anymore. So,
I know. Well, I mean, every year, so Kyle, every year it would be like July, and you would
Yep.
put these barriers up because you don't want people to see, and
Oh yeah.
it looked like your whole house was under construction around your yard because you were doing all this. And I see Anne Marie. Anne Marie cuts my hair,
Yep.
and every time I talk to her, I ask her how everything's going, and she kind of gives me an insight of like, she's like, "Oh, it's all out there. It's
She
all
tries.
out there."
Yeah, she tries to stay away from it the best she can
Yeah.
until the night it starts. Then she's all about it.
Right. Yeah. And then when it's done, it's like, so for
Yep.
y'all that don't understand, Kiowa starts this probably about 4 to 6 months in advance.
Yeah, because it's me by myself doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and then I've got like this year. I've really changed the thing up completely from last year. Like, I mean, I don't think there's any room that's going to be the same this year. So I've definitely, but I wanted it to do it that way because last year, you know how it is. Like, there weren't flaws, but I just saw things I could do better from
Right.
last year. So that's so I just went with it that way.
Well, it's a sight to behold, honestly. And if you're a Halloween fan and you're in the Gulfport, Gulf Coast area, come on
Yep.
down to Walley. When do you kick it off, man?
We start at the start's October 1st, and it goes every weekend it goes all the way through.
The
We're
31st.
actually going to be open on Halloween night this year. So we last year we didn't just they decided not to for trick or treating and all the stuff. But then I had more people got mad because it wasn't open. So I'm going to go ahead and have it open this year.
Yeah, that's a Thursday is Halloween.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do it every weekend. And I may every once in a while. I'm not real. I don't think we got everything nailed down, but it will be every weekend in October. And I'm thinking about trying to add maybe a couple of maybe a Thursday or something every once in a while too in there if I can. We're still trying to work that out right now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's basically the whole month though.
Okay, yeah,
So,
I think if you like haunted houses or you like anything like that,
yep.
if you want to see something that's handcrafted by one person, it's
Handcrafted,
definitely
literally. Yep.
it's definitely worth coming out and seeing, and it's kind of like an inside view of Kiowa's Halloween brain,
Yep.
and it's he literally does it all by himself.
I make a lot of the stuff too. Like I make my own. I make the skins. I make my own intestines. I make all that. Everything's like I make all the stuff. So
Yeah.
if that's not creative.
Oh yeah, and it's always you buy something that
Yep.
is already from a Halloween shop and you make it
Yep.
scarier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can do that too sometimes. But a lot of times, like I'll just build it, make stuff.
All right, so Kiowa, if someone wants to come to Walley and they want to come by and see it, how do they find out where to go or when to go? I know it's a neighborhood, it's kind of a Bellevue neighborhood thing, but it's open to the public. So how would they find that?
I think last year we had it where you could actually get you could buy your tickets online.
Okay.
And that would be sure we did it through the den, Andrew. I'm not 100%. I should have asked about this, but you can get them there, or you can actually just come and get them right at the right at the front. Yeah, right at the event. Yeah. So
Okay, so it starts on October 1st.
Yep.
What time do people normally show up?
I think we usually do it from like 6 to 9 or 7 to 9. I want to say 6 to 9 is what I want to say. I'm pretty sure, man. 6 to 9 or 6 to 10.
There'll probably be a lot on Facebook about it. So I would be
on the
weekends.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would definitely be on Facebook.
On the lookout from Facebook. And if you want to come and support Walley, all of the donations go to the Den and for cancer charities. So I think it's something worthwhile. And plus you get to have a good time walking through a handmade haunted house.
Yep.
So reach out, look on Facebook, be on the lookout for that coming up. And then also if you have any landscaping needs, or if you want to get in touch with Kiowa and book him, how would they do that with you, Kiowa?
You could just call my phone number. It's 228-297-0470. That would be the best way for landscape, probably.
Okay.
I do have a website, but I don't really ever go on it too much, honestly.
Okay, for Antonian Salon, I know that most people can just go to their website on antoniansalon.com.
Yep, you can. Yep, or you can call, is it 832 Curl, CURL is the phone number up there.
Yep. Well,
definitely.
I appreciate the time, Kiowa. It's always nice catching up with you, man.
Always, buddy.
Always a pleasure, man. And you have a good rest of your week. I'll hit you up this week. I want to come by and see it.
All right, take care, buddy. All right, thanks.
Well, folks, that's a wrap on this episode of Bottled Up. A huge thank you to our guest, Kiowa Walley, for sharing his incredible journey, letting us peek into the world of Walley and his dedication to landscaping and his mastery of hair coloring. It's always a pleasure hearing about his many creative and successful endeavors. Remember, if you need stellar landscaping services or want to book a session with a top-notch colorist, you can reach Kiowa by contacting Antonian Salon. And don't forget to mark your calendars for Walley starting this October 1st. Trust me, you won't want to miss this spooky fun and the chance to support a great charity. A thank you to Kiowa for visiting with us, and a big thanks to all of you, our listeners, for tuning in. At Bottled Up, we're all about uncorking the stories that shape our coastal home. And remember to always support our local businesses, restaurants, and attractions. Cheers. Thanks for listening to the Bottled Up podcast. Want us to deliver this show to your email inbox as they drop? Want to tell us about how you like the show? Or do you want to tell us about a Gulf Coast business or restaurant that you'd like for us to spotlight in any upcoming episodes? Email Morgan Wheeler at mwheeler, MWHEELER at abevinc.com. That's ABEVINC.com. Want to know more about Allen Beverages and how we work with our clients, partners, and vendors? Check out allenbeverages.com. This show was edited and produced by Johnny Gwynn and Deep Fried Studios.